est à côté, ouais.
Je reste à côté.
Well, a very good afternoon. Welcome to
Faut
the
que j'aille ici, ouais.
Va pas trop vite.
It's been super light this afternoon as we're watching the arrival of the Swiss-German skipper Oliver Heer. Ollie Heer coming in towards the finish line, ready to complete his first ever Vendée Globe, and in so doing, becoming the first ever Swiss-German skipper to finish the Vendée Globe. So it's been a 4-year journey for Ollie Heer. He actually bought this boat on the 18th of February, so 4 years ago tomorrow was when the journey started. Encouraged by Alex Thompson, who he was the boat captain for, encouraged by Alex to take on the Vendée Globe. They were talking during the delivery of Hugo Boss back to England from Cape Town, and it was Alex who said to him, "Come on, Ollie, you need to do the Vendée Globe yourself." That was really when the journey started. They bought the boat in February, just after that, and here we go. Oliver Heer then is a long afternoon, a very slow night, but really, here we go. The moment is coming for Ollie Heer, and it's been an incredible journey to get to the start line. He really had some tough times mentally. Collision in the route to Rome, rigging failure or a rigging failure in the Transat Jacques Vabre, not flat, and with major electrical problems in the Transat CIC. That is all behind them, all part of the journey, but the moment is coming for Oliver Heer. Just in a few seconds. What a beautiful late afternoon here in Les Sables d'Olonne. Such a different scenario to what we've seen. Just creeping into the Nouche Sud, that legendary, iconic mark, the cardinal mark that marks the end of the Vendée Globe. And Oliver Heer on Tut Gut. Everything is good for Ollie Heer as he comes through the finish line right now and completes his Vendée Globe in 29th place. He's had no major problems. He's had just a few problems being stuck in calms in the Pacific, but really a huge moment of release, a huge moment of relief for Ollie Heer. He just can't quite believe he's done it. It's been waiting for so long, even over the last 48 hours. Inspired to take up professional sailing by the premature death of his father, he worked his way up, became boat captain for Alex Thompson, really from the ground up. And really struggled at times over the qualification process. I'm sure there were times when he wondered whether he was doing the right thing, but really everything like that is behind him now. The race is completed. He's finished in 29th place. And a fantastic moment for Ollie Heer, for his family, for his friends, for his team, everyone who has supported him. And his support from all over Europe. Hugely popular skipper. Just waiting for his team to come on board. He's pretty relaxed. It's been a long afternoon with his team close to him since early afternoon. Crossing the finish line at 17:29:34 UTC, 18:29:34 French time. His time for the race, 99 days, 5 hours, 27 minutes and 34 seconds. Under 100 days, 34 days behind Charlie Dallan, and 3 days and 4 hours behind Antoine Cornet. But the numbers mean a huge amount. It's all been all about the personal journey for Oliver. It's been all about taking on the challenge with limited resources, putting its everything on the line to start with, buying this boat, which is was reunited with his wife, Teresa, who's been so supportive, and his dog, Black Labrador Tail, who's clearly missed Ollie. Big hug from Media Man. But really, you can see just ghosting, very, very light conditions. He was doing less than 1 knot last night for long periods. He was doing 1 to 1.5 knots coming into the finish line. But finally got there, say reunited with his immediate family, with his wife and his dog, Paddy Conde, the media man there, just setting up. Worked with Clarice Kramer as well. He's been working with Alex Thompson for a long, long time. So massive credit, I say, to Ollie and his team. Very, very gentle finish though. And he's got a lot of Swiss supporters coming from the Zurich area, where Ollie grew up. Started sailing on an Optimist on the lake of Zurich. And I say, at this point in time, these conditions, knowing with this high pressure all the way over Europe, then conditions are probably not dissimilar on Lake Zurich at the moment. But he's a solo skipper who grew up with posters of the sailing icons of the moment on his wall. His heroes were not footballers or skiers, they were ocean racers. And in the end, this boat served him well. He's looked after it well. He's only really had this problem with the hydraulics and his keel ram, which has affected him since the middle of December, really. On when he's been on port tack, so he's had to centre the keel on port. So he's lost a little bit of power at times, but really this has been about consistency and looking after his boat, looking after himself. Other than that, just other problems have really been pretty minor, as befits a skipper who has been a boat captain, a technical expert, knows every nut and bolt, every part of his own boat. So he worked for Alex Thompson on the Hugo Boss for a long time and sailed many, many tens of thousands of miles beforehand. But he's our first, on this Vendée Globe, certainly our first boat captain turned skipper, a racing skipper. Seb Marseille, who was a few places ahead of him, worked for Roman Atanasio, was very much a skipper before that. So there you go, there's the numbers. Ollie Heer, 99 days, 5 hours, 27 minutes and 34 seconds since he left here in Les Sables d'Olonne, back on the 10th of November. So he's got a pretty big contingent from his area. His family and friends are all here. Friends from England. And he's taken newcomers to sailing Bergerstein Vitamin, and they named the boat Tut Gut, and it's been very much the maxim for the race. All good, everything is good. So he's gone from being solo for nearly 100 days to having all his mates and team on board. He's a skipper who really enjoys company, enjoys sailing with other people. I think he's got used to the solitude, but he's made it work for him. He's kept himself busy looking after the boat for sure. Stuck to his routines, and that served him well. But really his race has been characterised by long periods of calms, shall we say, marred by periods of calms. He's been very, very unlucky, particularly in the early part of the Pacific. There was a situation where he was just bumping into the back of a high pressure system which was moving west to east relatively slowly. So there was no opportunity to get through that. Really was stuck for a long period of time just moving at the same speed that the high pressure system was moving at. And again in the South Atlantic, he was stuck in some very nasty calms, just slowed for a long period. And he made a little bit of a strategic error just at that point approaching to the semi-permanent cold front of Brazil, off Cabo Frio. He went inshore towards the west and lost out to Antoine Cornic and others who were further offshore. You know, his brother and his mother and all his family have been here for a few days waiting. So this boat started life, in fact, as a Gitana 80 built for Loic Perron. Led the Vendée Globe in 2008, was lying in third place when Loic broke the mast. He then had a 20-day passage from his position near the Kerguelens under jury rig, had to go into Fremantle in Australia. But it's been a very great servant to Ollie. He's made it reliable. He and his team have made it reliable. Had these problems at different times in the qualification process, and I think Ollie was actually the last to qualify in terms of the qualification order. Had some very nervous times getting inside the 40 starters, and made it. And he's just saying, yeah, box is ticked, I've done the Vendée Globe, and for sure we know he wants to be back. It's his brother, I think, setting up the flag. It's a very sedate, tranquil arrival for Ollie. I don't imagine he'll be complaining in any stretch of the imagination. The job is done, and it's a long held dream of his, certainly not necessarily to do the Vendée Globe, but certainly racing around the world. And he said that certainly passing around Cape Horn was something he dreamt of going way back. So just chatting with his wife, who's, I say, his biggest supporter in every sense of the word. She's super dynamic and runs the business, or helps run the business. And I think has given them, the whole team, so much confidence to keep pushing forwards. So yeah, Ollie had a little, he went off the start line and was almost immediately into the calm which prevailed in the early part of the race. It was 32nd early on, crossed the equator in 36th. And then those of you who follow the race closely will remember he had to take a 2-hour penalty, which really didn't affect him that much in terms of position, but he had to take a 2-hour penalty because they took the sail off the boat after the time limit at the start. Not a major crime in any stretch of the imagination, but just something he and the team didn't really take into account. Other than that, the 2-hour penalty had a little bit of a early December, flooded the engine, but of course Ollie fixed that up fairly quickly. Very stormy at the start of the Indian Ocean, broke a batten, and that was really kind of mid-December was when his keel ram issue started. And I think initially he was refilling the hydraulic oil as much as possible, and then in the end I think it's been fixed. So great to see the team, great to see the band back together with their skipper. And in the end, the timing is absolutely fine. At one point he was coming in last night, at one point he was coming in on Valentine's Day, but that's the nature of the Vendée Globe, and particularly the Bay of Biscay. At this time of year, really you can get anything, as we've seen over the course of the finishes so far. We've seen too much wind for Clarisse Kramer and big seas for Clarisse and Benjamin Dutroux, and now we've seen the opposite extreme. Ollie Heer then taking 29th, but just having to ghost into the finish line and across. But what a beautiful evening, what a lovely sunset he is being rewarded with. And he will get a great welcome when he comes back ashore. Lost his big Jenniker on the 19th of January. Went overboard, but the sail was irreparable. Otherwise, he had a problem. He had to go up the mast, but he only had to go 3/4 of the way up to sort out a twisted lazy jack block, which had made a small hole in the mainsail. So he had to sort the block and repair the little hole in the mainsail, but it was really quite tiny. Slight technical hitch in putting the flags upside down, but we'll sort that one out fairly quickly. Fortunately, they noticed. However, they're in no rush now. I say Ollie's through the finish line. So there we go. This sunset awaits, and the Les Sables d'Olonne channel awaits Ollie Heer. Beautiful evening, just coming into sunset. He'll be in time for sundowners. Will Ollie and his team. Yeah, it was really round about Christmas. It was that Ollie crossed into the Pacific, and he had this really tough period of calm, which I think initially he dealt with, and then he found it increasingly frustrating, and then eventually got out of it. But unfortunately, all that time the boats in front were escaping. But that is the nature of the Vendée Globe. It's all so much determined by timing with these big weather systems. The other extreme, if you like, was of course Charlie Dallin and Johan Richomme getting a low pressure that they rode pretty much. Well, certainly Charlie and Sébastien Simon had the best of the weather. Just a gift, certainly for the Indian in the Pacific. Really, really fast in the Indian Pacific. Correspondingly, in terms of luck, Ollie was at the other end of the scale, as were a few others, but really all the time for Ollie this has just been about finishing the race. And I think increasingly that was the case as he went on and got further and further round the course. And a good race in the end, actually, with the Yun Kun Chu, our Chinese skipper, who's about 100 miles behind. And Ollie got past him again, just around about the Azores, or just before the Azores. He's been a bit further ahead, but they've had a pretty good little tussle. Ollie ran into a wind hole at some point a few days ago, and Jackie got through. But yeah, everything very, very relaxed on board Tut Gut. Hard to believe the Ollie's just completed the Vendée Globe. However, great to see there are a few people out on the channel there for him, welcoming him in. It's been a slightly difficult day in the sense that the ETA's moved around a lot, but it's massive testament to the Vendée Globe fans that they've all out in reasonable numbers for him. So Ollie's also fortunate that in the end his timing is fine. You can one of the few skippers who's been able to finish and come straight into the channel, and will come all the way into the dock. But in actual fact, a few nights ago, around about the 14th to the 15th, just like 2 or 3 days ago, it actually had 36 hours, which was his fastest 36 hours of the race with great conditions. Just after the Azores, he was going fast, and everything looked good, and then it's all slowed down in the last 48 hours or so. I always love these little landmark moments, or these little coincidences on the Vendée Globe. Is exactly 4 years tomorrow since Ollie and Teresa bought this boat with a view to doing the Vendée Globe, and that really was when the journey began. And what a journey it's been, and this really is the best possible conclusion. A really solid race, solid performance from a skipper who really puts a premium on seamanship and technical knowledge. But, granted, I'm sure he will tell you he's got quite a lot to learn in terms of ocean racing strategy and solo racing. But if you look back at, he's certainly been capable, shown himself capable of pushing the boat hard and fast, as we saw, particularly in the Route de Rome. Route de Rome, he had a collision with Kojiro Shiraishi, a port starboard, which Koji was actually at fault in just a few hours after the start, and Ollie had to take his boat into Lorient, make a composite repair. Started, I think, 5 days after the fleet, and really had to push hard to get down to break the time limit for the race, which allowed him to use the race as a qualification. So welcome home, Ollie. So he's gained a real following in the German part of Switzerland. Race is not so well known, and all of the skippers so far have been from the Geneva area. So Alan Rura in particular, and Justine Metro. Justine grew up in Lake Geneva. The big family, the Metro clan, all grew up racing and sailing on Geneva with the training group there. So Ollie's super proud of his roots, but also spent a long time based in England. Very well known, very well liked round the Hamble, and obviously working out of Gosport with Alex and the ATR team. We can certainly take a lot of pride in this moment. It's great to reflect that years ago, Ollie was here with the pre-start with the Alec Thompson Racing team looking after Hugo Boss. And now here he is in his own right, coming into the channel, first time of asking, started the race and finished it at the first time of asking. And that is fantastic to see people turning out. So it's been certainly quite a fluid PTA. And the people of Les Sables alone, nonetheless, turning out to see this wonderful Swiss-German skipper realising his dreams and sharing in these dreams and making lots of noise about it. Superhero as well he is. Here we go, and all the rest of the puns that have been we've been able to use over the course of the race. He looks slightly bemused, but really, really just happy. It's quite surreal. All the skippers will tell you that 1 minute you're solo single-handed, the next minute you're coming into the channel. And really the perfect time to do it. The opposite in some respects, as say, compared with Charlie Dallin, who had a beautiful, beautiful sunrise. Ollie Heer's getting a beautiful sunset. Super serene, super tranquil. Low stress. As I say, surrounded by his friends and family and his team. To repeat, of course, it is the French spring holidays, second week of the French school holidays. And I think more than ever before, people have taken the time to come and visit, spend their spring break here in Les Sables alone and just enjoy the finishes when they can. There's plenty to do otherwise. Quite a few people we've met over the course of the recent finishes have come down for the full couple of weeks. And it's such a lovely, lovely counterpoint to the start. The start is so frenetic and so busy and so stressful. And seeing all the skippers getting ready to leave, indeed sometimes getting a chance to see them, but very often it's so much more difficult at the start, and really this is the finishes are completely different. It's about saluting the successes of the skippers, sharing with the joy and happiness. And once again, a nice day here. We've seen lots and lots of visitors being able to walk up and down the pontoons in peace and see the boats post-race. It's a great time to finish, really, of the day. I'm sure, or I know that Ollie's team have got a big evening planned, and Ollie will be participating in that evening to the fullest extent. And on the legacy of in that respect. hopefully in 4 years' time, or ideally less than 4 years' time, 4 years less a week, let's say, or 2 weeks. Hopefully, we'll see Ollie here coming back to his second one. We know he's got plans. He wants to come back again. This was about laying the foundations, proving he could do it, proving it to himself as much as anything else, I think. Igniting some interest at home in companies, in individuals to support him, and then delivering. And I think he's done a good job of that, for sure. And it's a platform, foundations to work from for the future. So I say this boat was launched in 2007 for Loic Perron, 2007 February, and it actually won the Transat Anglaise, or the Transat. A lot of races with Loic beautifully prepared to start with. I remember actually seeing Loic doing all the rope work on the boat himself in 2007, 2008, before that race. But he did win the Transat the Transat that year. And then after that, he went on to become was sailed by Guillermo Alcol and Pachi Rivero. Became W Hotels for a while. Set the New York Barcelona record. It did 2 Barcelona World Races when it was owned. It was owned by the FNOB, the Fundación Barcelona Foundation, or the Ocean Sailing Foundation of Barcelona. And then went on to become Fenertiel, John Le Cam's boat in 2016, which he took 5th, I think, in that race. Then became the Gaias Centros Auditosa, which did the Barcelona World Race with Ana Corbet and Gerard Manin. Then it was Fabrice Amadeo's boat for the Vendée Globe. And then it was most recently sailed by Roman Atrazio. That's Ollie with his mum there. And there we go. Beautiful, beautiful, calm, still evening in which to enjoy this triumphant homecoming to the start time of the Vendée Globe. Roman Atanasio took the boat round in the last race in 90 days. He give him too much confidence. You always worry. There's always just a little tiny bit of worry on a day like this when so the ETA has been moving around. In fact, it has been for a couple of days. You just think, oh, is anybody going to turn out? And you should never worry. Certainly at this time of day, everyone comes out and welcomes the skippers back, and it's so important for Ollie to have this great welcome. His patience really has been tested, probably more than any one particular human attribute over the course of this race. I think it's patience and reliance which have been tested most. He really did manage himself there pretty well. Worked well with the renowned mental coach. I think that helped him in his preparation periods leading into the previous races, but certainly into this race. What's in the cup? What's he drinking? However, the champagne moment will come soon enough. But Ollie grew up actually, he turned his back, or changed his life course, if you like. He was setting up for a business career, started his business career in the Far East. And it was a premature death of his father, who was a big sailing fan. I think Ollie just realised that he could follow the same career path as his father, or he could do what he feels his father maybe wanted to do more than anything. And that was when he moved to England, or he sailed professionally initially out of Hong Kong. Then came to England and really worked his way up. I think it was Dave Thompson, who's Alex Thompson's brother, who's on board just now, who really introduced Ollie to Alex. They hit it off, and Ollie spent a long time working for him and did a lot of sailing with on the Hugo Boss.
On est un peu loin, ouais, mais bon.
Ollie had some tough times in his preparation period in the qualifying races. Remember the Transat CIC was knocked flat, spreaders in the water, and came up with a major electrical blackout. Managed to repair things just enough that he could get limited power, which meant he had to hand steer for many hours a day, got very little sleep, but again, had to qualify, had to finish to qualify for the Vendée Globe, but he did that successfully. And then he had this little challenging situation where he'd been supported by his mental coach to get to maybe remember this obviously that was considered to be outside assistance. But anyway, he overcame that little mental hurdle at the time. I think all these things have made him stronger and better able to cope with the challenges of this race. I want to say the simple challenges, because the challenges he's had have been relatively straightforward, and that reflects on him and the way he's prepared the boat and the way he's been disciplined in maintaining the boat. Not overcomplicating things, not overthinking things.
Peut-être qu'il est content là. Nous on reste jusqu'à ce que ça marche quoi.
And the Swiss cowballs, of course,
Ouais voilà.
now increasingly evident as he approaches the pontoon. Round about a team of supporters, about 100 strong, coming in from Switzerland just to welcome Ollie back and to recognise his success. It'll be interesting. Then he's coming into the pontoon. It's obviously stating the obvious to say that as Swiss German, his first language is German, and that defines him from the other Swiss skippers who have started and finished the Vendée Globe before, whose first language has been has been French. So it's a triumph for Ollie and for his region. So they're very proud of how he's conducted his race. And once he got a little bit of support within the business community in Zurich and in and around that area, then traction built. So it looks pretty good for the future. Communicated well during the course of the race. Very disciplined. He wants to dance. He just wants to dance. It's just, come on Ollie, let's go. What a lovely, lovely warm welcome on a beautiful evening.
Tu me dis quand je décroche. Tu me dis quand je décroche. Dis-moi quand je décroche. Et c'est bon, je peux rentrer au quai.
In the Barcelona Marina, 29th position out of 40 starters. Ollie speaks a little bit of French, enough to say thanks for the champagne. Also speaks Chinese, but German and English. German is first language, English a little bit of French. So fantastic to see Ollie here finish the Vendée Globe. His race has been really, as they actually fairly straightforward in terms of very few problems. Here's his doggy towel. A massive congratulations to Ollie and his team. Stat qui team photos and Here we go then. Ollie will, I think, give us a few words in a few seconds. Just acknowledging the big crowd there.
Oh, absolute, I don't know, lots of emotions, but mainly happy, excited, relieved. The last couple of days were not easy. First, a lot of wind around Finistère, 40 knots, 50 knots, and then 0 knots. And it felt like Les Sables was some kind of illusion behind the horizon, and I will never get there. Even just off before the finish, there was 0 wind, and it was very hard, but now I'm here, and it's the best feeling ever. I think I'm quite tired, but right now my heart is beating like crazy, so I'm so happy, in perfect shape.
Tell us a few words in German, auf Deutsch.
Auf Deutsch?
Ja.
Ich bin so glücklich, wieder in Les Sables d'Olonne zu sein. Es waren einmalige 98 Tage auf dem Meer und ja, ich glaube, heute bin ich der glücklichste Mensch auf der Welt. Well, I don't know. It's very difficult to summarize a Vendée Globe, almost 100 days, in a couple of sentences. I mean, it's such a big journey. There's so many highs and there's so many lows, and it's it was a very special 3 months. But now, what's better than returning to Les Sables d'Olonne and celebrate with my partners, my family, and my friends? So yeah, I'm very happy.
It was a very long journey.
Yes, it was a very long journey. People already ask me what the worst or the hardest moment was in the Vendée Globe for me, and it was the wind hole in the South Pacific, because I was 5 days with 0 wind, and then you feel like you're very far away, and the Vendée Globe will take forever. And 98 days is a long Vendée Globe, but I'm here, I'm still healthy, and the boat is still in good shape, and so I think, mission accomplished.
And what about the regatta as a sport? Are you managed with that?
Well, for me it was always the number one objective was to finish the race, to do a clean lap of the planet. And whenever I had to make a risk, I always thought, no, Ollie, don't take the risk. It's all about just finishing the Vendée Globe. And now I finished the Vendée Globe and I'm in 29th position. I think I would have wished to maybe finish with the group ahead of me, with Sid Marseille, who has a similar boat than I have. But yeah, it didn't happen, but that does not dampen my mood at all. I'm a very happy man today. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So there we go. Ollie Heer would like to have finished a little bit higher up with Seb Marseille in that group, but it didn't happen. But he's a very happy skipper indeed, being joined there by Marcus Hutchison, who's been behind the scenes as a very experienced project consultant. Came in and helped in the latter part of the programme, was here pre-start and has been behind the scenes. Marcus has been involved with so many different Vendée Globe programmes over the years, most recently with Team SMA, with Olmea, with Thomas Rion, and now there's Hubert Lemonnier, our race director, welcoming back. So Ollie said he would put money on the table that he'll be doing it again. So nice to see Hubert on the dock. He's welcomed back all the skippers, no matter what the time of day or night. He's been a great first edition for him as the race director. He's stepped up through the ranks from being assistant race director on this. He's worked for the Volvo race. He's worked for the Barcelona World Race, 2 editions, and he worked for IMOCA. And so he very, very much has the confidence of the skippers. And he's led a really dedicated young team of assistant race directors. He made a real point of building a strong relationship with the skippers, taking time to get to know them, to get to know their boats. And I think some of that was at the time with IMOCA, and there is Bernard Stamm on the left there, Swiss skipper who really, I'm sure, is one of Ollie's heroes, who in fact never got to finish the Vendée Globe. So that's a massive sign of respect there, with Bernard turning out. And also Eric Bellion with them. So Ollie will come up onto the public stage in the next few minutes. I say for me that's particular significance of having Bernard Stamm turn out and come all the way to Les Sables. Skipper who put so much into his programs to do the Vendée Globe. Mills. Big hug. And also from Eric Bellion, who also didn't finish this race. He finished it before Sean LeCam there as well. So really nice to see the skippers and past skippers turn out. Of course, Bernard Stamm won the Velux 5 Oceans and the Barcelona World Race. Won the Barcelona World Race with Sean LeCam. So interesting then, as we kind of expected, Ollie saying that the low point really for his race was in the Pacific when he had 5 days with no wind. Really tested his patience. And also saying how tough he ended up with 40-50 knots at Cape Finisterre on the way in. And Again, these long periods coming into the finish with no wind last night and today. He said that he wondered, started to feel like Les Sables d'Olonne was an illusion. It was moving away from him, but that illusion is broken now, and he's alongside, celebrating and enjoying his first moments back on land with his close friends and family, with his team, with the different skippers who have turned out to welcome him back. I think that tomorrow, maybe a little bit earlier, but probably round about the same time, I reckon. I think probably in the afternoon we'll be seeing Ying Kun Chu, our first ever Chinese skipper. He was about 100 miles behind, a little bit faster than Ollie just now. He's doing 7 or 8 knots, so we should see him in the afternoon. And that will be a big moment. So Ollie just doing a few little media interviews before he comes to join the public and will be welcomed by the public on the main stage.
But you are used to sing without any wind.
The finish was the same, the start was the same.
Yes, okay. Yeah. So you are not so exhausted.
Right now, my heart is like, I need to chill a bit. But I will be tired at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, I will be tired.
Okay.
So he's just saying he doesn't feel he's running on adrenaline just now. I think he probably has been, even though it's been slow through the day. I think the adrenaline has been pumping for many, many days. He is a sailor who certainly has been very much at home on his boat.
Okay. In France. Yeah, and then tomorrow, at some point, it's time for some holidays.
Okay.
And we'll go and we'll participate and we'll feel tired at the moment. He's just happy to be here.
This is good.
Reliable.
For a first Vendée Globe, it was perfect.
Perfect. Reliable.
Yeah, for
He
first
said
Vendée Globe,
as he's probably just about here, he's saying that for the first Vendée Globe, this was a kind of beginner's boat, if you like, or a rookie's boat. Ideal, reliable. Many, quite a few of these FAR designs, the 2007, 2008 FAR designs in the fleet. And I imagine, given the way things are shaping up in terms of the qualification process for the next race, I'm pretty sure we'll see more of them in the 2028 race, which is a few of them in the 2028 race. Will depend very much on how the fleet size grows overall. Certainly a lot of new boats being built. There's talk of 10 or 11 new boats being built. Many skippers talking of elevating their game and moving up to faster boats.
Gescheite Journalist, jetzt geht es zurück.
Kleindruck da lesen. Oh, tschüss. Hey, so schön. Es ist Hammer gewesen.
Ja, ist ziemlich
gut. Super. Alles klar? Hey, ja, alles klar.
Ja.
Hey, you made it.
Ja, ja.
Proud of you. Ja, super. So wie das so gut.
Ja. Ist ein paar Mal gesagt.
So Ollie then, no rush, just enjoying the opportunity to meet his friends, supporters who've come a long way to see him. It's nice to see them on the dock soon as he comes off the boat. Acknowledge their presence and share a few moments with each of them. They're not in any major rush. It has been great. You have to reflect. It's been great to celebrate the different cultures for the skippers, the regional cultures and the national cultures, if you like, for the different skippers as they've come in. So it's great to see the Eric Souday's, all his friends and family and fans from the very, very north of Brittany. Then Normandy for with big teams in from Normandy for Louis Duc. Then the Ile de Ré for Antoine Cornu. It is nice for Ollie now to just have the opportunity to spend a few moments with everybody. Thank them for turning out for him. I'd imagine that, or I know that the Chinese community in this part of France are turning out in big numbers for Yin Kun Chu tomorrow. And that will be a big finish. He is an incredible character. Really, who's started in France with nothing. He'd already sailed around the world, done the mini transat before he got involved with the IMOCA class, but had always dreamed of doing the Vendée Globe. And then I think we've got probably 10 days until the final three skippers coming in around the 26th, 27th, 28th of February. That will be Fabrice Amadeo, Manu Cousin, and Belgium's Denis van Weenberg. But this is very much a Swiss evening and a Swiss-German evening. And there's Stephanie Ruchot, our Chief Operating Officer. She's about to trivy Ollie along and get him up onto the stage. How lovely. Always get a picture of his boat from a young fan.
Allez, mesdames et messieurs, s'il vous plaît, je vous demande à nouveau une ovation pour le skipper de l'IMOCA Tut Gut, 29e de ce Vendée Globe.
So this will be interesting because it's the first time we'll have the questions and answers. I think
Heer, s'il vous plaît.
In English, translated into French. In the meantime, we have a representative of the region. We'll say a few words. Mr. Alain Leboeuf is not here, but this is his deputy.
Bonsoir Oliver. Oliver, nous avons également sur scène, alors nous avons Daphné pour la traduction. Vous pouvez applaudir Daphné également, s'il vous plaît. Je vous demande également d'applaudir Florence Pinault, vice-présidente du conseil départemental de la Vendée, en charge de la mer, qui a, comme d'habitude, un message pour notre skipper.
And she will give a message to
Heureuse de vous
Ollie.
accueillir sur ce ponton du Vendée Globe. Ça y est, il est bouclé. C'était
Very
votre rêve
happy
de
to
boucler
welcome you
ça.
to the pontoon of the Vendée Globe.
Troisième Suisse, moins de 100 jours. Et on peut que vous applaudir et bravo encore, bravo.
Bravo, Ollie. Well done. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup Florence Pinault. Oliver, ce Vendée Globe, c'était un rêve. Ce chenal, c'est un rêve qui se concrétise.
Yeah, I mean, I always dreamt doing the Vendée Globe since I was a small little boy. And the departure day in November, the start was absolutely amazing. Thousands of people there, and you kind of expect it, you're ready for it, and then you start to sail the Vendée Globe. But then you're on your own for almost...
Just wait a minute for the translate. Yes, thank you.
J'ai toujours rêvé de faire le Vendée Globe depuis que je suis tout petit. Et rien que le départ, quand vous partez avec des milliers de gens autour, voilà, c'était déjà incroyable.
And then you start sailing the Vendée Globe, and you're out there on your own for 100 days, and you think to yourself, well, a couple of people might follow you, and they might be interested in what you're doing, but it's kind of in the back of your head. And then you arrive here tonight, and there are hundreds, if not 1,000 people lining the Chenal. It's, yeah, very, very special, and I feel very honored.
Après le départ, vous commencez à naviguer et là, voilà, il y a 100 jours qui passent et vous vous dites dans votre tête, bah, peut-être qu'il y aura quelques personnes, des dizaines de personnes qui vont me suivre, qui vont être là pour m'accueillir. Et vous arrivez dans le chenal et là, il y a des dizaines de milliers de personnes qui sont là pour vous accueillir.
Oui, vous pouvez vous applaudir d'ailleurs aussi, s'il vous plaît, chers amis du public. Florence Pinault l'a dit, un tout petit peu moins de 100 jours. Et ce dernier jour, ça a été le jour le plus long.
Well, it wasn't easy. I mean, approaching Europe, approaching Les Sables d'Olonne, around Cape Finisterre, I had 50 knots of wind. And then within 10 hours, I had almost 0 knots of wind.
Donc c'était pas facile au large du Cap Finistère en arrivant près de l'Europe, j'avais 50 nœuds de vent et après en arrivant au large des Sables d'Olonne, j'avais presque plus rien.
And then I approached the finish line. I was about 4 miles away and suddenly all the spectator boats arrived and there was 0 wind and I was there completely stationary, eating my fingernails, and I had about 100 people watching me. That was not the easiest moment.
Après, je suis arrivée à 4000 à peu près de la ligne d'arrivée et j'ai vu tous ces bateaux arriver et j'ai commencé à me ronger les ongles parce qu'il y avait vraiment 0 vent.
But then it's such a contrast from being 1 mile in front of the finish line to being this 1 meter behind the finish line, and now it's a relief. And I think I'm not lying when I say that I'm the happiest man alive on the planet today.
Donc c'est un énorme contraste en fait, même 1 mille avant la ligne d'arrivée et quelques mètres après la ligne d'arrivée. Et maintenant je peux dire que je suis, je pense, l'homme le plus heureux du monde.
Ouais, l'homme le plus heureux du monde, mesdames et messieurs. Mais c'est aussi grâce à vous. En quelques mots, qu'est-ce que tu retiens de ce Vendée Globe? Not easy.
No, this is not easy. You know, it's the #1 questions that people ask, and I think it's the most difficult one to answer because we spend almost 100 days at sea and we experience the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. So it's at this time, almost impossible to sum it up. All I can say is it's an experience of a lifetime, and I am very confident that I'll be back again in 4 years' time to experience it again.
En fait, c'est la question qu'on nous pose toujours en arrivant. C'est très difficile de répondre. Ce que je peux dire, c'est qu'il y a eu des moments très hauts et des moments très bas. Et tout ce que je peux dire, c'est que je suis sûre que je reviendrai dans 4 ans.
Bon, nous avons déjà une annonce et je suis sûr que vous serez très nombreux dans 4 ans pour applaudir Oliver Heer. Oliver, ma dernière question, si tu as un mot pour ton équipe et un mot pour le public, lesquels sont-ils?
Merci. A big merci.
Merci, je crois que ça suffit, c'est pas mal comme mot. Merci beaucoup, s'il vous plaît. Vous pouvez applaudir encore Oliver Heer. Oh, stand with us, please, Oliver, for the picture. Just from here. Voilà, la photo avec le public. Faites du bruit, s'il vous plaît, mesdames et messieurs, pour cette photo. Et je vous demande s'il vous plaît de l'applaudissement pour Oliver Heer. Oliver, que vous pouvez retrouver dans quelques minutes pour sa conférence de presse dans l'espace Vendée Globe. Merci beaucoup, très bonne soirée et encore bravo à Oliver Heer.